It's just a wonderful place. A secret of wonderful place of Los Angeles is the sculpture garden at the University of California, UCLA, which a lot of people don't know about, but it's one of the finest sculpture gardens in the world. And it's right in the middle of the campus. And so I always take people there when they come to LA, and it's just very peaceful. And many sculptures of the leading, all the great sculptors of the 20th century.
You like arts?
Yes, yes, and there's a lot of art in Los Angeles, with of course the LA County Museum, the big Getty Museum. We have a museum here in Santa Monica, and downtown the Modern Museum. So the County Museum. There's many. If you're interested in art. Also, LA has become much more of a theater town, which it wasn't because film, right? Movies, all that. But in the last 20 years, many little theaters. So it's become, if you're interested in theater, it's a wonderful place. We have also a little outdoor theater called the Theatrum Botanicum in up near the coast. My son was in a play there just till recently, Tartuffe. It was wonderful. Sit outside in a little small bowl and to watch the actors in the theater, and you can have dinner, and it's very pleasant. You just need a car in Los Angeles, right? It's very spread out, and you just have to drive to get to wherever you want to go. You know, it's you don't have a centro storico. You don't. Yes, we have a center, but so much of everything is not in the center. So, but now also the central city is becoming much more interesting. Much more people living there. Many more activities going on. The music center and the arts district. So it's an incredible city. People from everywhere, every kind of food, every kind of language. People think that the Latino immigrants just maybe come from Mexico, but it's not true. They come from every country in South America, and every country in Latin America, El Salvador, Guatemala, Brazil, Argentina. It's an incredible place, LA. It's a unique place. Also, it's interesting, it has a mountain range in the middle of the city. So it's a huge city and area, but if you go from one part to the other, sometimes you have to cross the mountains, you know, which is unusual in the city. And of course, it has the beach, it has the mountains, it has you can go skiing not so far away. So it has all the nature, hiking, you know, it's a very interesting city. I love Los Angeles. Also, I love New York. Okay. J'ai deux amours when it comes to the cities, because there's no place like New York. New York is the capital of the world as far as for me, you know. So, and I also have family, so I go often to New York. I have a great love for New York. But people don't realize the diversity of American cities. They're different. New Orleans is different. Washington, D.C. is so different. Reminds me of Paris. It's the only American city that has that kind of atmosphere. San Francisco is unique. Chicago is incredible. So there's a huge diversity in American cities.
And you know Italy too. You have been in North Italy, or?
Yes. No, I've been many parts of Italy. I first went to Italy in 1957. Italy is very different than was in 1957. I was visiting friends who were studying in Firenze and Florence. And I traveled also to the south, and then made many other visits. I have friends in the Piemonte, in Torino, in Cuneo, and I've been there many.
You studied Italian?
I studied Italian for a mese and a little more in Torino. I love Torino. It's like my favorite city now in Italy. because it's beautiful. It's a royal city, not too many tourists, and so people speak Italian, not English, all everywhere, like in Florence or even in Roma or in Venezia. But I've been up in Vicenza, Padova, Venezia, and then spent a month in Cortona, in that area of Tuscany, and also spent more than a month in Sicilia, in Sicily, and we traveled all over Sicily. So I like very much to visit Italy, and I have friends and also American friends who were going every year to Italy and rent a house, and I always went to stay and visit with them. So I'm very, I love Italy, but I would not, myself, I would not want to live there permanently. Many Americans do. But for me, no, I'm happy to live in America and to visit Italy.
Your first meeting, your first contact with Sergio. Tell me something about Sergio. I'm very curious.
Well, Sergio and his friend Adriano came to Los Angeles about 15 years ago. There's some relationship, a cousin of an aunt who lived in Los Angeles, etc. And I was playing tennis with this friend of Sergio, who was related to the aunt who lived in Los Angeles. So we were tennis partners. So she said, "Oh, I'm having a little party. You have to come and visit. I have some friends from Italia and his friend, etc." So fine, I went to the party, and that's how I met Sergio and Adriano. And they cooked up a big pasta. It was great. It was so delicious. And so right away we just became friends. Okay, and and then I visited in the Piemonte. I visited Sergio, and Adriano was staying here in Los Angeles, but he has an apartment in Cuneo. So I said, "Oh, can I stay in your apartment in Cuneo?" He said, "Of course, no problem." So I went and I stayed in Cuneo for 3-4 times a month or a few weeks. And I explored the area. You know, I rent a car. And I went to Liguria. I visited Sergio in Mondovi. And then also one time I went and I studied in Torino for 2 months, a month and a half, etc. And then also I went to convinced some American friends to go to Torino when they had the slow food gathering a few years ago. It was in Torino. So they came, and I had a girlfriend, and so we came to the Slow Food Festival, which wasn't all that great, to tell you the truth. It was just too busy. But we rented a car, and we went to Liguria, and stayed in Santa Margherita, and explored the Ligurian coast, and Cinque Terre, etc. And so I've seen a lot of the north of Italy and the central part. Spent a lot of time in Pietrasanta on the coast, the Versilia, Forte di Marmi, and that area. My friends took a little villa, a little house there.
Sergio, speaking about Sergio's character.
Sergio is.
What you can't stand.
No, there's nothing about Sergio that I can't stand. Sergio is molto vivante. He's very lively. He's a wonderful social person. He's a very kind heart. He has a very strong feelings, very strong opinions. he loves Los Angeles, you know, even though he realized a lot of crazy people here, and he's a little crazy too. Oh, but it's a character. It's people with character, and Sergio has a very strong character. And my friends all they love Sergio. He's always fun. Sometimes he says things that, for example, my sister-in-law is Italian. Italian-American, married my brother. So they were visiting, and it was Sergio or Adriano said they come from Sicilia, from Agrigento, the parents, okay. They were born here, but the parents came from Agrigento. They escaping the military in the early part of the century. And so I don't know, I think Sergio Adriano said something looking down on the south of Italy, of course, you know. So she got very offended, of course, which is especially in the Sicilian character, but generally also in the Italian character, easy to be offended, right? To be insulted. So she, I don't want to ever see that man again, you know, etc. But
with Sergio, you have full contact.
Yes, yes. He always says what he thinks and what he feels, and he's great. And he knows many. You want to know anything about the people in Los Angeles, you talk to Sergio. If you want to know about the area, the West, the whole West, his friend Adriano is. He goes everywhere. He drives everywhere. He knows more about the West than I do. He loves to explore in the desert and Death Valley, every place. But I think a lot of Italians are interested in the West, you know, in the deserts and the canyons and the mountains and all those areas. And California is a country. It's a huge country. It used to have the 6th biggest economy in the world, just California. I don't know now. It's probably 10th, or I don't know what it is now, but it's not anymore the 6th. But there's a huge diversity. It's 1,000 miles long, you know. Ecco Sergio.
We are talking about you, of course.
And very hospitable. When I go to Italy, Sergio is great. We explore the wine country. He introduces me to his friends. And yes, so I love Sergio.
Sergio. A wonderful friend, really intelligent, really smart.
So,
yes, I know. Mi ha detto però che hai insultato i parenti quando sono venuti.
I think it was Adriano that insulted. Adriano. Okay, it was Adriano.
Because I don't meet her.
Yeah, which is unusual because Adriano's he's very quiet.
Yes.
He doesn't say anything like Sergio.
Yes.
Adriano is very polite. But something also she might have misunderstood something he said, because she's very sensitive on how the northern Italians look down on the southern Italians, right? And especially from Sicilia. So she's very sensitive. So she maybe misunderstood something Adriano said, because I know Adriano would not say anything insulting about anybody, okay? And about, he doesn't agree with Sergio about Italia, the South, etc. So
oh, bellissimo.
I think if you want to say something else, but I think it's
okay.
Good.
We can always do if you want to. So, in the popular press, you know, in the movies, etc., they don't make so many films about the professors and scholars and intellectuals, etc. But LA is a very lively intellectual community, culture. But it has the strong culture of many different cultures. People go to the opera here, you know, I mean,